Was found on Greenwich. He has a knife in his hand, white male, black shorts, brown hair.
You can't think of a greater level of embarrassment than firefighters taking care of a police scene for the officers. Make sure you're feeding the algorithm down below. This was previously recorded and streamed on Kick. If you'd like to watch the entire stream, head over to kick.com/kineticconcepts or follow the link in the description.
Officers Eureka Monroe and Frank Chenois were dispatched to a 603, a person breaking in, call for service at 0927 hours.
He's in here still.
Relax.
My wife is on the second floor.
Okay.
Upstairs.
The officers then met with the owner, who came downstairs and told them that the suspect was in their house and so was his sleeping wife.
San Francisco Police!
Without waiting for backup, officers Monroe and Chenois entered the home for the safety of the wife. They drew their firearms.
That suspect is this person's in there and my sleeping wife. You're drawing your gun like before you walk into the house. And if you're walking through the house, you have your gun out. That's the proper course of action. We saw an officer there who had his gun in his holster. Can't be afraid to pull your gun out and get, in a stool position and start searching.
And tactically performed a sweep of the 4-story house.
Well, it looks like someone may have broken into your house and they may still be here.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yes. So
Your husband's outside. Step out for me, please.
Oh my God, okay.
All right.
They found the spouse sleeping on the 2nd floor. They told her to leave the premises via the area they had already searched.
What I would do here in this situation, locate the wife, make entry into the room that she's in, and clear the room that she's in first. Hold to the back of you, hold the rest of the house, and 2 officers search this room before she gets up and starts moving around. You don't know if this dude's inside the closet and he's got a gun, he's got a knife or whatever, and she starts moving around and then he attacks her. While she's in a position of relative safety, at least because nothing's happened to her yet, clear the room that she's in. And that way, when she gets out and starts walking by, you can kind of start in a position that is safe and clear.
They continued their search of the house and found no one inside.
All right, it's clear. All right, it's clear. All right, it's clear.
The original caller met with Officer Monroe and told her that he had just come face to face with the suspect while he was in his home.
He's on the top 3rd floor.
We got our hand on our gun, but we're going to have our gun out. We're going to be holding this entry, exit, whatever it is, if there's multiple points or whatever.
Back staircase. He's locked up there. This building just made contact with them.
The suspect was now utilizing the rooftops and attempting to gain entrance into other homes. Officers Peterson, Nazer, and Williams gained access to the rooftops and located the suspect.
Hey!
To the west and the 2030.
Look, man, just walk over where you can.
Okay, we got it.
Make sure you're okay, all right?
Officers gave verbal commands to the suspect, who was now shirtless and attempting to escape. He refused to follow their instructions.
Why you up there, man? Hey, just come towards us.
This is a suspect, like he committed a crime, which is burglary or trespassing, depending on what he did inside the residence, and also depending on where this happened at. It says Sacramento, I think, or San Francisco, but he definitely committed a crime of some sort, which means that we gotta get our hands on this guy.
Officers followed his movements at a distance, and Officer Peterson informed the perimeter officers via PIC radio that the suspect was exiting the premise on the Greenwich Street side.
Hey, come on out, man. Come on, I got him. Come on out, man. Hey, come on out. Come on out. Let's put an end to this. There's people right there. He's coming out the front garage on the Greenwich.
The suspect was shirtless and no one observed him with any weapons. The suspect exited the building onto the sidewalk where he came face to face with Officer Chenois. He saw Officer Chenois walk towards him and he immediately raised his right hand above his head where he now held a knife.
After this officer contacts him one time, we know that he's armed with a knife.
The suspect slashed downward with the knife at Officer Chenois. Officer Chenois' quick reflexes allowed him to avoid being stabbed by moving out of the way. Without hesitation, he chased after the suspect and broadcast on PIC radio that the suspect had a knife.
Was found on Greenwich. He has a knife in his hand, white male, black shorts, brown hair.
How should we be addressing this person or this individual now that we know he is armed with a deadly weapon? It's going to be the opposite of what you see.
The suspect ran towards Greenwich Street.
Hey, you're not going to beat me. Stop, you're not going to beat me.
Officer Monroe, alone and with great courage, jumped out of the police vehicle and pursued the suspect on foot. Officer Monroe touched the suspect's back and was about to push suspect.
We know he has a knife. It's been put out over the radio. I'm sure you can clearly see that he has a knife. What are we doing here? Why are we trying to go grab this guy? You guys have seen, I'm sure, that video of that officer who was responding to a typical call or normal call of a trespasser, and that officer approaches him and the guy pulls a knife out of his bag and kills the officer. And this is a different situation where we know he's armed. We know he has a deadly weapon. Like, this stuff is very basic.
To the ground. The suspect quickly spun around.
On what planet does this make any sense? These are the types of decisions you're making to mitigate risk. These are the types of decisions that we're making to mitigate serious bodily injury or death to ourselves by trying to grab a guy who clearly has a knife, has been reported to have a knife, with our hands and thinking that's going to work out for us. I mean, you need to be retrained. This is very basic academy level stuff right here.
He seized the knife with his right hand and tried to stab Officer Monroe in the head. Officer Monroe jumped backwards and narrowly avoided being stabbed. Officer Monroe drew her service firearm and pointed it at the suspect and ordered the suspect.
She was too close. She's still too close now. She took way too long to even draw her gun. I think initially when she started back, you could see she didn't have her gun in her hand. Her grip is something that is unacceptable. You don't see it. It's not trained. And why are you gripping the gun like this? You're gripping the gun like this because you don't pick up a firearm, your handgun, and you don't train with it. I'm of the opinion that policing is not that dangerous. And statistically speaking, it's kind of not. But it's way less dangerous when you can clearly identify and mitigate risk, which is why most cops are killed with their gun in their holster before they fire a round. Not because they're not good marksmen, but because they make poor tactical decisions.
To drop the knife. The suspect dropped the knife and fled eastbound on Greenwich Street. He was quickly tackled by two firemen and officers.
Oh my God. Thanks for putting that in the chat. I can't hear it. I have my volume down on my computer so there isn't an echo. This is ridiculous, man. I can't believe it. This is real bad. This is crazy. I don't even know what to say. I feel like ashamed at the highest level. Is there more shame than that, guys? Come on. Wow. That is just... So people that don't do the job actually had to go and do the job for you. I don't know about that. That's just crazy, guys.
Gala, who took the suspect into custody.
Attempted murder of a police officer.
Unfortunately, a lot of times when situations like this happen, like let's say, for example, they get him into custody and nobody got hurt and they didn't use force, like instead of addressing the officer safety issue, cops will actually get rewarded. Like they'll get an award for what they did. And that bugs the crap out of me. So we're influencing, in my opinion, the behavior that we don't want to see in terms of being safe, officer safety, and making good tactical decisions. How are you supposed to feel about a situation when the person wearing the uniform completely ignores their own safety and then something happens to them? Like, how are you supposed to feel about that? Here's the actual truth, though, right? And whoever hears this message, cool. Not many people will. If you don't feel obligated, like for yourself, is there anybody else in your life that may want you to come home and see you how they expect to see you? And not get a call and say you're in the hospital because you got stabbed in the neck and you'll never walk the same way again. Like, that's a shame. Like, you should be ashamed of that.